Howdy folks, I'm Caitlin Moran.
And I'm Mark Melton.
Normally we're the hosts of 2 Weeks Notice, but tonight we're co-hosting a little something special for you guys.
Welcome to 20 Years of Heat, our special show to celebrate all the great work on the Heat Network, the greatest network in all of Hempstead, New York.
Mark, did you know that we are the largest college television network with a sketch comedy show, news show, sports talk show, a late night comedy show, and whatever director's cut is?
The Heat Network is home to 5 amazing shows: Thursday Night Live, Hofstra Today, Sports Beat, 2 Weeks Notice, and Director's Cut. This hour-long special celebrates the 20-year history of the Heat Network and the fantabulous work these 5 shows have done to encourage student experience.
This special is about promoting the great work accomplished here at the Lawrence Herbert School of Communication.
You know, don't you think that 20 Years of Heat is kind of an odd name?
Yeah, it is weird. And it doesn't even mention any of the 5 shows. Mark, what's your idea?
Okay, hear me out. 2 Thursday nights today with the Sports Cut.
No, that's too long. Here's mine. Today's sport on Thursday with 2 directors.
That's even longer, Caitlin. Oh, I got one. 2 directors live with Beat Today.
Okay, we're going places. How about Cut Week's Beat on Hofstra's Thursday?
Oh, let's combine all the words from all the shows at the same time.
Hofstra's 2 Thursday nights today, Notice Sports Live and Beat Directors Week.
And that wasn't even scripted either.
You know, don't you think in general that some of these shows have weird names?
Like, why is our show called 2 Weeks Notice?
Yeah, I mean, I signed up because I thought the show was a business show explaining how to quit my job.
Yeah, it's a late night comedy, so why don't we call it something like Late Night with Caitlin
Well,
Moran?
actually, the show airs at 8 p.m., so it should be more like relatively early night with Caitlin Moran.
Then there's Hofstra Today, but it's not today, or tomorrow, or the next day. It's 2 weeks from now at 1:30 p.m. So really it should be called Hofstra Not Today, but maybe tomorrow.
Okay, well, what about Director's Cut? What would you rename that to?
Packages cut, because none of my packages ever get aired.
Packages?
The previously recorded segments in a show. It's TV lingo.
Oh, I've been going through years thinking we were talking about FedEx.
Well, next up is Sports Beat. Sports Beat. Caitlin, give me a beat.
Sports and beats and sports and beats and sports and beats and sports and beats and...
Nice sports beatboxing. Finally, there's Thursday Night Live. Here's my pitch. Thursday Night Live.
That's the name of the show already.
No, but night is spelled correctly.
Oh, yeah, that show was rejected, so that's why it's called NITE.
Oh, Caitlin, I think we should pitch our own show ideas.
Perfect. I thought you'd never ask. I've been thinking of this one for years. Hofstra FD. Hofstra resident advisors scope out the rooms complexes with illegal fire hazards in their rooms before the fire marshals arrive.
Oh, so it's a reality show like Cops?
You know it.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
Mark, what's your pitch?
I've got Willie and Kate plus 8. It's about our beloved Hofstra mascots, Willie and Kate, and their pride full of 8 baby cubs as they cheer on the sidelines of basketball games.
Oh, that's so cute.
But then disaster strikes and they get a divorce. Now the show is called Kate plus 8.
Well, we got a great show for you tonight, folks. We got a panel of members from each of the Heat Show's production staff here for a fun trivia game coming up. But first, let's hear the story about how the Heat Network got started.
Once upon a 20 years ago?
Mark, you're not the one telling the story.
Oh, I see.
Stick around, there's more 20 Years of Heat coming up.
20 years of heat? Sounds sweaty.
Hi, my name is Samantha Littman Porter. I was one of the founding members of Heat and was a producer.
My name is Rachel Avery. I graduated from the School of Comm at Hofstra University in 2002.
I'm Dr. Jamie Cohen, and I was the second producer of Thursday Night Live, and I was there during the founding era of the period of Heat.
When it started, Samantha Littman and I, and there was another colleague of ours, Beth Jones, we kind of all came together, and the dean at the time, Dean Back, talked about he wanted to do a TV station that was different from classes, but able to produce content as sort of like, you know, on the side. So we were like, sure, whatever.
One night late with Rachel Avery in a room somewhere in, we used to call it Dempster Hall, thinking about like, how can we make a studio from all the amazing talent that we had at Hofstra.
The name Heat, we were like, should we call it HTV?
I feel like we were playing around with different acronyms. We were thinking about Hofstra, so the H, and we were like, okay, Hofstra Entertainment. I feel like we probably were just throwing, spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks.
Someone suggested Heat, the Hofstra Entertainment Access Television, because then we could use flames in the logo.
Obviously, we had Dr. G sort of leading the charge, but I think it was honestly a bunch of kids trying to figure out how to create a channel and how to create different shows and have different programming. It was, the start, honestly, probably of a lot of people's careers. And it was just a lot of us getting together, trying to figure out how to make it interesting and entertaining.
Burbling in the background was this new initiative that was going on in the School of Communication, and it was called HEAT, and it was Hofstra Entertainment Access Television. So there was a channel called 34. That channel needed content. So this creative endeavor burst up among the seniors and the juniors. So Rachel Avery and Sam Littman kind of came up with the structure, and then there was a pilot program of all these different shows, and Thursday Night Live was one of them.
So TNL was the first HEAT show, and it was not the way it is now. It was like a monologue stand-up format, more like a late show, talk show.
We were really trying to model it after Saturday Night Live, but more in an interview type fashion that would make kids just want to, tune in and check it out.
At that time, because we didn't have framework, we didn't have structure, we were building the plane as it was flying. TNL was the only thing that was pitched. The two initial producers were Dave Ringel and Joe Lambino, and they were just like Samantha and I in that they took the idea and just did it.
The first 2 years of HEAT were a guerrilla tactic. It was not endorsed by the faculty. So it was very much a dean's initiative, not a faculty initiative. And we did a lot of things because we didn't have rules. And so those non-rules allowed us to do a lot of things that should not have been allowed. But that's when you watch early TNL, you're watching guerrilla television.
HTV, before HEAT, would play videos. In your dorm room, you could watch Hofstra Television and they would be playing FYI and News and Views, and that was the class run. And then we would have the senior level projects that would get broadcast live on these two stations that would show only in the dorm rooms. And so the show, Thursday Night Live on Thursday nights, was the other show that would show up on these TV stations. But that was all that we could do that first year, was get that first show up, get the name, and then we handed it to the class of 2003. And they, in so many ways, took it and really made it into what it is. More shows got added. Thursday Night Live moved into that different structure that it's in now, which is more of that sketch comedy.
We started talking about, okay, what other shows could we create on a weekly basis, monthly basis, bi-weekly? How do we create more content? Because it's obviously always a challenge, creating more content and making sure you have more of a lineup versus just one show.
That first year, we were just like, let's get it done. Whatever we need to get done, let's get it done. And we did.
Probably the most memorable pieces that come from that, I would say, are Chaos Ensues, the packages that I would do and get in trouble for, or the trouble I would get in with Marcus when we would do Marcus on a Mission.
Just being at the School of Comm with my friends, laughing, creating something amazing. I would say that my most memorable times are just literally being at the studio and being in that control room.
Every moment is from being in Dempster Hall or being in the School of Communication. I think of being in one of the studios or one of the control rooms.
I just wanted to say congratulations to the students that have been working on it and are still working on it to this day. It's so amazing to be able to reflect back and think about all of the amazing accomplishments that you've had. Obviously, big thank you to Dr. G. He is definitely, for me, a mentor. He's always been and he always will be. And, I think just huge accomplishment to be able to have something so significant started 20 years ago and still, be around today.
Also glad you guys have kept the torch going. I can't believe it's 20 years, but I'm really proud of what each class has done since then and the changes they've made. And it really truly is a testament to the education that we receive.
Wow, the HEAT Network has such an incredible origin story.
Our next segment commemorates the longest-running HEAT show, Thursday Night Live.
Thursday Night Live is our very own college Emmy-winning sketch comedy show.
Live from Studio 8, it's Thursday Night Live.
My name is Joe Lambino, Hofstra grad of 2002, I think. Pretty sure 2002 was the year I first graduated. While I was at Hofstra, I began and created the Thursday Night Live television show my senior year. and I currently am a high school teacher at Plain Edge High School. I teach math and I teach television production for our program called Plain Edge TV. Two students that were working my year, Sam Littman and Rachel Avery, were the head of the Heat Network when we first started, and they said they wanted to put together a first ever completely student-run TV show. They asked any students that were interested to submit some type of idea, and a lot of people come up with these big, grandiose ideas. And I just tried to think of something simple that I thought would be a good first show to do, which was a talk show on Thursday nights. It was kind of like a cross between Saturday Night Live, so we called it Thursday Night Live. And also there was a show on MTV called TRL, so we called it TNL. So we kind of had like that kind of combination of the two, which would just be a weekly live show on Thursday nights, where we'd have a musical guest, a live guest, a host, monologue, and have some fun. That's where it started, and to see where it is now is just unbelievable. We thought that we would be able to do this every single week. That was our idea. When we pitched it, we said it was going to be every single Thursday night we were going to put together a 30-minute show. And then when we realized how much work went into trying to put together a weekly 30-minute show, after the second one, we said maybe we should skip a week and make it an hour-long show. It's completely different now, so much better than what we used to do. It's really like Saturday Night Live. The acting, the writing is extremely impressive. The graphics that they're using, and even the intro. I mean, we love making our intro videos. I mean, our Sopranos video that we made, I still remember making that. Our Beverly Hills 90210 videos. So we used to always love making the intro videos, and I always love watching how it's progressing, how it's growing.
And the winner is Thursday Night Live, Hofstra University! Yay! Enjoy, everyone. Congratulations. Dr.
Gershon reached out to me a few years ago and sent me the link that Thursday Night Live not only was nominated for a College Emmy, but won the College Emmy. And Jimmy Fallon, I mean, I had to show that to all my classes the next day. When we started it, we did not expect that. We thought it would just be, this was our senior project. It was like a senior show that would last that year. And then we started to, by the end of, when we were getting close to graduation, there was a lot of underclassmen. Our host was a junior. Some of the people that really helped us out a lot were juniors, and they said, well, we want to keep doing this next year. And that's when I was like, all right, this is going to, at least the legacy will continue, and it will go to at least year 2, let alone here we are, year 20. Preparing for that first show, in the back of our minds, we thought millions of people were watching it. So we knew like we had to get it off the air at that 30-minute mark. And like, that's what I was stressing out about the most, was like, we got to make sure we're off in 30 minutes. But like in reality, I don't think it would have mattered if we were still on a little bit longer. But that's what you're thinking about when you're doing the show. You're thinking it's real life stuff. So the preparation work, we had our writing team come in. They worked with our host, which was Marcus Scigliano, was our first host. And it was like a talk show. We had guests that came in, musical guests that performed on the show. I think we had an Elvis Presley impersonator one time. And it was just really a lot of fun. And everyone would come up with different ideas. And some would work out, some didn't work out, but that was the best part of it, just trying to get everyone involved. It was just really fun. The best memory for Thursday Night Live for me has got to be the final episode. We dressed up in tuxedos and we celebrated. We thought that was like the coolest thing ever. We made ourselves the guests for the night, so we got to be on the set. And it was really more of a celebration and show that night. We had professors come on, we had all the Heat producers came on to talk, and it was really like what we thought would have been a farewell to the show. Like, this is it, this is our big ending. And I'm glad to see that it didn't end.
You know, it's crazy to think that none of this would be here if it wasn't for Thursday Night Live. Hard to beat that.
Beat this, Caitlin.
Mark, that was pretty strong, but not as strong as this.
Are we supposed to be doing something?
Oh, right. Let's stop tossing the ball at each other and toss it over to Sports Beat.
I love Sports Beat. It's our very own sports talk show that focuses on everything Hofstra Pride athletics and professional sports.
Let's take a look.
I'm Marcus Colson, and you're watching Hofstra Sports Beat.
Sports Beat here on campus is all about getting students involved in talking about sports primarily. Our first goal is helping them build their reel, but at the same time, we do want to deliver a good product as well. And that's why we try doing fun things, getting involved with club sports teams. And also on top of that, we do like to give people experience in studio, doing panel type segments like you would see on SportsCenter.
And really, this year, Elon is that same kind of team. They're gritty, they'll play to the end of the game, and they'll never stop. That's the thing about Elon. They're persistent.
Back in the early 2000s, we had like one thing going on outside of classwork, and that was Thursday Night Live. So we had a lot of underused space, I think, and a lot of, frankly, unused time. Once a year, we would produce Midnight Mania. That first night of the college basketball season, the WRHU sports team would typically go down the hall and produce a TV show. So, probably about a 2-3 hour live event. That was really the one dedicated sports show that ever happened on the television side of the building every year. I think it was really out of Midnight Mania where we said, why don't we do this more often? Why don't we try to do a sports talk show?
EJ loved sports, I loved production, and we just wanted to do more production. So I got together a couple friends who wanted to work in the studio. He got together a bunch of friends who all wanted to work in sports. We're all with WRHU. And we said, hey, let's just do this on Thursday night.
Again, but they regrouped. John, they're going to be facing a Stony Brook team that they have historically owned. They've never lost to them.
The importance of having these two spheres at Hofstra with sports journalism and with television, like with any good team, is making sure you have people that are all strong in different areas, because then in the end, it's going to make a better overall product. And I think it's really cool to see, because you have a lot of people that are in the television program and you have a lot of people in the sports journalism program that ultimately want to work in sports television in some capacity. So I think having those two communities come together makes the show a lot better than it would be otherwise.
It was an eventful week in New York for most sports fans, with the Jets and Giants both winning in overtime and the Yankees getting eliminated in the AL wildcard game.
WRHU at the time was hyper-focused on Hofstra athletics. Sports Beat was really a chance that we could talk Jets, Giants, Rangers, Islanders, Yankees, Mets. Balancing those things and figuring out how much is going to be editorial-driven content versus how much is going to be highlight, what do we even have access to. Certainly those first couple weeks were, for lack of a better term, it was a bleep show.
We had no idea what we were doing. I mean, honestly, we came in, maybe we had one piece of B-roll to play, one set of highlights, but we came together, 3 or 4 people on set. We just winged it. We just did a show. We didn't know that it was going to become this show that lasted 20 years.
I visited campus a couple of years ago. I had not been on campus since 2003, and I see a Sports Beat advertisement. And I stopped dead in my tracks because I didn't know it was still going on. The fact that it's still going 20 years later is incredible. It's not a testament to Adam or myself. It's a testament to everybody who came after us, that they saw value in something that we created and they made a choice to keep it going.
To be with a show like Sports Beat that's been around for 20 years, it's a huge honor to get to be a part of it. One of the things that I do really enjoy is seeing the exponential growth. Every single year, it keeps getting better and better.
I was out at Hofstra a few months ago doing a directing workshop. And before I did it, I got sent over a couple episodes of the show, so I was able to check it out. There was, a lot of tape, a lot of packages. It was a really produced up show, which, was so much more than where it started.
Let's see if they can get a shot on our human hoop.
Even in my span of being with the school where the show was my freshman year versus where it is now, is completely different. It's stronger, it's more expanded, and I think that's going to continue to be the case, and that's what excites me the most.
This stuff really sticks with you. It's kind of crazy how much you remember, the memories, the moments, the broadcasts, the productions, the relationships. Don't take these things lightly because you never know what you might accidentally create that hangs around Hofstra forever.
Lights, camera, action.
Mark, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm shooting my next big short film. It's called Attack of the 50-Foot Caitlin.
I'm not 50 feet tall. Close, but not quite.
Don't worry, Caitlin. It's all about angles.
I mean, that actually sounds pretty cool. You should totally put it on the next director's cut when you're done.
Director's Cut? Oh, isn't that the Heat show that talks about what's trending in the film world and also showcases original Hofstra student productions?
You bet it is, Mark. And this segment will tell you all about it.
Hi, I'm Nikki Sammartino. I graduated Hofstra in 2005 as a Bachelor of Science major for television and video production. Right now I work for Apple. I'm a producer in the software and design part of the company.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Chiafulo. I am a film and television major, Bachelor of Science, and I am a producer of Director's Cut.
Hello, I'm Spencer Fowler. I'm a senior film studies and production major, and I'm a producer of Director's Cut.
Director's Cut is a show that spotlights student filmmakers, which is unique because we kind of incorporate TV and film into one show.
When we created Director's Cut, the thing about Heat at the time, it wasn't even really officially Heat. We only had Thursday Night Live, which was, obviously and probably still is today, a very huge production that the students put on. And then we only had Sports Beat as the other show that people produced and worked on.
A primary difference between being a film major and what happens on the television side of the School of Comm has to do with film is much more focused on kind of this artistic expression and creativity, while television is really focused on kind of technical aspects and creating something, getting a finished product out the door, as you could say.
So it was myself. There were a few other students that had expressed enthusiasm in helping me out with creating the show. And Sean was just all for it. And it was just extremely crude and scrappy and not very glamorous. We had to get like a random kid to help with lighting a set. And I think it took months and months before we were able to get an episode out. And even then it was really rough. So the actual theme of Director's Cut itself, where the concept, where we're interviewing film students, that was sort of inspired because there was nothing like that. So there was no bridge for the gap between television and film students working together on a single production.
And so that kind of adds this interesting dynamic where we get to kind of balance each other out, where we have understandings of different aspects of, film and television.
One of our main goals is basically to give a space for people to collaborate in different ways, and I think it leads to us having a lot more creativity. We have packages which we do little short films, and we give people the opportunity to talk about films in our episode, like with The Take, and that's something where it usually interviews a range of people, whether that be age, gender, whatever. We're trying to figure out a way to get more people interested in Director's Cut because we want it to build up our team, and that seemed like one of the best ways to do it. Hofstra Filmmakers Club is something we are usually e-board is a part of, and Hofstra students usually are freshmen or sophomores who really want to get involved and are in that club. So it was a nice gateway to be like, here's an opportunity if you want to come out and get involved. All you have to do is get interviewed, have fun, dress up by the theme, and do whatever you are interested in.
Having seen prior episodes of Director's Cut and some of the really early episodes of Director's Cut, it's amazing to see kind of where we've come to.
The best years of Director's Cut were not its first years. And so after I produced it, I think a year or two later, I became the general manager. And it was really nice to see other students take it on and produce it and do way more creative, better things with it than what I was able to do in its first year when I was trying to just establish the show itself.
Once me, Spencer, and Tori were kind of able to take the reins, we decided that we wanted to do a rebrand just to kind of make it us, but still keep the integrity of what the show means.
I have passion for it and a drive to make the show the best it could be and kind of create this amazing space and this amazing platform for student filmmakers and for TV majors to kind of get out there and show off their talent.
I think after this past season, you know, even though it might be bumpy in the beginning because, you know, it's a new thing that we had been working on, seeing everyone come together and kind of have faith in something that we were still trying to figure out has led it to be something that I personally am very proud of, and I think our board could say the same.
Reporting from the Lawrence Herbert School of Communication, I'm
Caitlin, what are you doing?
I'm Caitlin Moran, and I'm here with Mark Melton, a guy with really nice posture, but maybe it's too nice. Let's get to the bottom of this.
Oh, I see what you're doing. You're doing a field report for Hofstra Today, Heat's original news broadcast.
And there you have it, folks. The reason for Mark's excellent posture, a plank of wood.
Oh, how'd that get there?
Let's take a look at Hofstra Today.
We started thinking about how can we pull off doing the Today show at Hofstra. You know, I was a little crazier than most and said, of course we could do a 7 a.m. show. Why not? And so G said, what if we did it during Common Hour? I was like, that's not really the Today show. You know, that's kind of weird. He convinced me that it was worth it. We said, let's go, let's figure this out. Walked me down to Tim Femmel's office and said, we need to get some people in the building at 7 a.m. You good with that? We want to do a show. And it all kind of took off from there.
I call myself the co-creator, co-founder of the show. James Benish had the original idea and came and pitched it to me, and then I kind of took it and we both kind of ran with it and launched the whole show.
It was bold, but it was audacious is what it was. Hofstra News, World News, the weather, Hofstra Sports, general interests, interviews. I think we've gotten very, very good at it over the course of the years.
People are in college, they have many different groups, right? Some people have fraternities, some people have sororities, some people have sports teams. For me, I had a show. You know, Hofstra Today was my home. And it's not only where I got my skills, the ability to be able to do what I do now, but it's where I got my family. It's where I got my community.
The fact that Hofstra Today exists and that there is a news show specifically for campus, and that there is a way to give exposure to all of the different niches of Hofstra, like all of the different clubs and all of the different events and all of the things that really makes Hofstra Hofstra. Like, I feel like it serves a purpose that nothing else really could.
Hofstra Today has changed a lot since my freshman year. Our set behind me used to be on the other side of Studio B, and it was blue, and we had the same desk that we had in my high school. So it was that's kind of telling. And it was, even the format of the show was different, and it was a lot more formulaic. We just kind of did the same stuff every week. And then when we got the new set, it was really, really exciting because we were able to have the monitor wall behind us and to try out all these different graphics. And then once we were able to have more people in the studio and we were able to have guests, it was awesome. We were able to bring in a comedy act. We did a pine cone decorating segment. Like, we've done so many fun things that we hadn't been able to try before. So to be able to have this and to try all of these different opportunities while I'm the producer has been so fun.
We have added a jib shot in the beginning of our show, which is new to the fall semester, and we're so excited to incorporate some new things with the jib coming to the future semesters.
I think it's important to understand how time goes, obviously, just like I would, advise myself. But I think it's really important to do everything you can to leave a lasting mark, to grow the show, to make sure it's sustainable for years to come. I think I was onto something, I hope, in the idea of providing something that gave a real world experience, both in real time as well as for people's reels and their resumes.
Welcome to Director's Cut. Our show spotlights Hofstra student filmmakers, with each episode having fun themes like horror, silent film, mockumentary, and more. On each episode, our hosts interview our guests and showcase their films, trailers, and BTS. Want to get involved? Join the package team. Students come together to write, film, crew, act, and edit packages. Or give us your take on our show theme during The Take. which anyone of any major can sign up for. More into live TV? Help us at Set Build or crew the show. Check out our Instagram where we have updates and links to various opportunities. Our team is always looking for people to push things creatively while merging filmmaking and live television here on the Heat Network.
Our final Heat show is the youngest show to be added to the Heat Network.
Aw, it's a baby!
Coming in only 7 seasons, we have 2 weeks' notice.
2 Weeks Notice is our very own late-night comedy talk show and our personal favorite, you know, because Caitlin and I host this one.
I mean, well, technically, Mark, you're my co-host and I'm the host.
Well, technically, Caitlin, the co and co-host stands for cool, because I'm cooler than the average bear.
Well, it actually stands for copier because you're just a copy of me. You know, minus the red hair and add a couple inches, and also our names are different. But other than that, copy.
Okay, well, Kaylin, as your carbon copy host, I'm going to toss to the next segment. Let's take a look at the best Heat show, 2 Weeks Notice.
Let's go. Come on. Sure, yeah. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our very first episode ever of 2 Weeks Notice.
My inspiration for the show is that I've always wanted to work in late night, and when I started here, Heat only consisted of 4 shows, which did not include a traditional late night like The Tonight Show or The Late Show.
Ali Bonaviso, I realized, had a very similar idea, and we thought, why not create it ourselves, because we could make our own journey here and inspire other students to do the same.
We pitched this idea to the Heat board, and that's how it came to be.
We came up with this idea that it was going to be a magazine show every 2 weeks, so we thought 2 weeks notice would make the most sense. We thought it was kind of fun, a kind of fun little play on like, I'm sick and tired of the work week, I'm gonna hand in my 2 weeks notice. We self-funded the first pilot. Those leather chairs my parents bought.
I felt like we were the little engine that could. We were the newest show. We kind of had the smallest crew. Basically, we got to kind of make it whatever we wanted it to be. Myself, the producers, the writers.
My favorite part about 2 weeks notice is the inclusivity and the free reign that the show's allowed to have. It's kind of the flexibility that really makes the show special.
I've always wanted to make sure that everybody is comfortable coming to the writers' room meetings and pitching their craziest and wackiest ideas and just feeding into it. I think the more creative and absurd the ideas are, the better.
One of my favorite memories is actually we went to this park that was near my hometown and we filmed this scene where he's flying out of a cannon and we were crying green screen to special effects.
When I get shot out of the cannon, it looks terrible, but like in a perfect kind of way. It was an insane day. It made it clear to me that like these people really care about making this thing as kind of silly and ridiculous as they want. It felt like there was no barrier of entry. Anyone can come, but even so, for whatever reason, it ends up being kind of a smaller operation than other shows, which I feel like lets more people kind of have their voice shine through.
It's blossomed into something larger than we ever thought it could be. Being here for this many running years now is something I could not even have imagined for a show that we were told we were allowed to make a pilot for.
2 weeks notice means a lot to me. It is one of my foundational components of who I am, both professionally and personally. I made a lot of friends this way, lifelong friends, and I met a lot of connections when we were inviting alumni to come back to be our guests, and people still reference it. So I think that's a really inspiring legacy to have, and really great that people think about it, and that it's doing so well still that people want to talk about it and think about it.
I think 2 weeks notice definitely plays a role in my day-to-day life still, and I imagine it will continue to do so for many, many years to come. I think that's because of like the lessons that I learned there. Like, we're collaborating when we sit down and we write stuff together, and there you're learning lessons about, you know, managing personalities. There are so many different people who are there who are working towards the same goal, but obviously not everyone thinks the same thing is funny.
One last thing I would say is thank you to Professor Gershon for greenlighting the show and allowing us to live out our passions and do what people would call crazy, but what we would call a career.
Have you ever wondered what goes goes on behind the scenes of a live production on a heat show?
Oh boy, do I!
Our field reporter Caroline Davis has the inside scoop. Check it out.
The Heat Network is 20 years old, but there are definitely some secrets that are kept hidden off camera. I'm here to use my investigative journalism skills to find out.
I'm Caroline Davis, and I'm here in the comm school to ask everyone the pressing questions of today. People on the heat. Should Heat Network unionize?
Yes, absolutely.
Rank all of the Heat producers from least to most sexy.
I don't even know them all.
Top 5 sexiest. Number 1, Marianne Perino.
Marianne is 1 at the top.
And that's all we need.
Becky Chiafulo, Spencer Fowler, of course. Sky Boomer at number 4, and I would say number 5, Ari with the good hair.
I can't believe Tone did not make that list. Would you consider Hofstra Today to be part of the mainstream fake news media?
Absolutely not.
You heard it here first. Journalistic integrity. A question.
Yes.
Would you let Jeffrey Tarson tuck you in at night?
Yes.
That's what I thought. Me too. Me too. How long have you been a professor here? Would you let Jeffrey Tarson tuck you in at night?
No, I don't think so.
Do you think Heat Network should unionize?
Yes.
I'm building a union right here. Which Heat show do you think is the best? You're a film major. Why?
No, I'm not. That's disgusting. Do not accuse me of that.
Okay, I agree. Which Heat Network show host do you think you could beat in a fight?
Ryan Davies for sure.
That was such a quick answer. Will you be presenting at the Herbies this year? What does any of this equipment do?
Not work.
What position are you?
Camera 3.
Yeah, no. Can I direct your show tonight?
I think we already have one of those.
It's me. Zoom in, zoom in. All right, go ahead and take camera 9. All right, get the jib to go down really low, really fast. All right, I know you're in the middle of the show, but do you think Dean Luke has an evil twin?
I'd be open to the idea. I'd love to see the research.
Yeah, I think his name is Randall Hillebrand.
At the end of the day, the Heat Network still has lots of unspoken lore, and I won't rest until I've gotten to the bottom of it. I'm Caroline Davis, and this is People on the Heat.
You know, Mark, I feel like we've really learned a lot together as co-host.
Yeah, I think I've done a great job mentoring you.
Mentoring me? I'm older and more experienced than you.
Well, your performance has gotten a lot better since I joined 2 weeks' notice, and that's all thanks to the Heat Mentorship Program.
You're not my mentor.
The Heat Mentorship Program offers underclassmen the opportunity to pair up with an upperclassman to get an additional learning experience in all the different aspects of television production. Let's dive deeper into the mentorship program with this next segment.
The mentorship program matches up underclassmen or whoever needs a mentor with a mentor who will teach them about any aspect of TV production that they want to learn. And the mentor will be someone who is experienced in that area and is eager and willing to teach it. It gives them hands-on experience in the Heat Network and with TV production, whether it be with the studio equipment, with script writing, or package shooting, anything that they really want to learn, they get to learn from people who know what they're doing. And then they'll just go off into the world where they can apply those skills that they learned in the Heat Network.
I saw there was kind of a need for that in the Heat Network because students hadn't been able to have as much hands-on experience because of COVID, and I thought that the mentorship program might be a good way to get students who didn't have those opportunities to still have them involved, so then that might be able to bridge the gap when we were able to return to larger productions and to have more people involved. I think we've gotten a lot of people really interested. We've had just like a great turnout, and I'm really happy with the direction it's gone in so far. I hear people talking about it in the halls, I hear people talking about it in the news hub, and then, you know, sometimes you're working on a Heat show and somebody says, oh, this is my mentor. You know, that always warms my heart. It's nice.
There's something in the mentorship program for everyone. I tried to think of everything possible that anyone would want to learn relevant to TV production. We have producing, on-camera talent, comedy writing, news writing, graphics, editing, single camera shooting, directing, associate directing, technical directing, all that. And it's a great way to get involved, bump yourself up in the program. It's a really good way to get to know upperclassmen, and that's just a nice way to make connections and network.
Every time we've asked for feedback of how can we make this better, how can we benefit you more. So we've been tweaking it over time, and I think that Megan and Megan have developed a really good system for that. Also, the fact that it's eligible for 14 hours, I think is a huge incentive for some of the older students to be involved and to be mentors, because, you know, even if you're not necessarily being involved with a production and you're not TDing or you're not camera, like, you're still helping and you're still making it so that you can have Heat Network shows in the future. So I think it's really important for the Heat Mentorship program to continue, even though we are returning from COVID and we're working with bigger crews and people are able to have a more hands-on experience. I think that having supplemental meetings and working with another student and working with a peer is really helpful, because you might, you know, be talking to your mentee and you say, oh, so what do you want to do? What do you want to learn more about? And you can refer them to somebody else you know, and they can learn even more. I know that I have learned more during my time at the Heat Network than I have in any of my classes. Just to get people involved and to get people excited, that's what this program is for, and I think that that's what it's doing, and I hope to see it continue in the future.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Our next segment features our faculty advisor, Dr. Peter Gershon.
Dr. Gershon has been here since the very beginning of the Heat Network and has supported the student body for the past 2 decades as our 5 shows have developed.
Let's take a look at his perspective on Heat over these last 20 years. And when we come back, we'll meet our panel of the Heat Network production staff leaders.
As faculty advisor for Heat, I have a lot of different roles. I work primarily with the producers and the shows. I'm a resource person for them. I help them resolve issues involved in production. I act as a liaison between Heat and the Lawrence Herbert School of Communication. My job often involves keeping an eye on the totality of what Heat is. Often there is no one else to go to ask questions of what is allowable, what should be done, how a situation should be dealt with. I was an associate professor in the Department of Radio, Television, and Film for about 6 years when Heat got started. It was started by a bunch of really adventurous students and a former dean of ours named George Back. They put the organization together. They put the first show, which was Thursday Night Live, and I believe Sports Beat followed very, very quickly. Dean Back left after the first year, and the seniors graduated, and the incoming seniors had worked a lot with me through our TVF 165 and through a number of other things I did in the department, and they came to me and asked if I would step in and be the advisor. The students who founded Heat were really an awesome bunch. You asked if I imagined the network making it to 20. I'm not sure I ever thought about it. At one point, we suddenly realized that we'd been doing this for 10 years, and it was sort of like, wow, we've been doing this for 10 years. And then we just sort of kept doing it. There were new shows added, Heat expanded, our roster expanded. We kind of were busy doing the work, and it came as a real pleasant surprise that we had suddenly arrived at the 20th anniversary. The 3 shows that happened on my watch as advisor happened because, in a very similar manner, in each case, there was a student or students who were on fire to do something that we hadn't done before. In the case of Director's Cut, that was Nikki Sammartino. In the case of 2 Weeks Notice, that was Ali Bonaviso and Katie Persia. In the case of Hofstra Today, that was James Benish. Working with the students in Heat really has been an amazing part of what I've been blessed and lucky enough to do for the last 20 years. As far as are there moments that stand out, there are a couple. First, getting to watch and work with people who go on to be professionals, who go out and really make a name for themselves. When the pandemic hit, watching our producers refuse to roll over and die and deciding they were not going to let anything get in the way of them producing their shows, They got together, and with the wonderfully talented David Henney, David found a way for them to produce all of our stuff online. He got us the software, he showed us how to do it, and with a very, very minor disruption, our shows went online almost immediately after they were no longer in a position where they could produce in the studio. Watching that, watching those incredible people who could have easily just curled up and go, why me? Why did this happen to me? There was nothing fair about the pandemic at all. But these are college students, and this is what they came here to do. And they almost had it totally taken away from them. But instead of doing that, they dug in and said, nope, we'll change modes, but we're not rolling over. As a teacher, I don't think I've ever been prouder of the students I've worked with. I would really be remiss if I didn't mention what it felt like to watch TNL win the College Emmy for Best Variety Show. Calling it a long shot doesn't begin to describe it. We were up against finalists who come from schools that really heavily fund their production. Saying that it made all of us proud doesn't begin to describe it. It was just one of the incredible moments. I think Heat has a terrific future. Things are going to change in many ways. One of the questions that we've been answering in schools that teach television production is, what is that going to look like? What's the instruction going to look like over the next few years? Are studio shows going away? I don't think they are, by the way. There are always certain elements that remain constant to television production. There's always going to be live sports. There's always going to be live music and live spectacle, award shows, things like that. I think our curriculum is changing with the times. I think we do a lot of stuff in that regard. And I think as long as there's a thing called television, I think Heat is going to have a real nice spot doing it here at Hofstra. Happy 20th, Heat. Nice work.
We are here with some of our very own Heat production staff members. Let's meet our teams.
Hi, I'm Megan Adams, and I'm the Associate General Manager of the Heat Network. Hi, I'm Erin Egan. I am a cast member, writer, and one of the associate producers of Thursday Night Live.
Hi, I'm Layla Neighbors. I'm one of the co-head writers for 2 Weeks Notice.
Hi, I'm Lady Hamer. I'm the production manager and the other associate producer for Thursday Night Live.
Hi, I'm Corey Dalmetto. I'm one of the producers for Sports Beat.
Hello, I'm Spencer Fowler, and I'm one of the producers of Director's Cut.
And hi, I'm Marianne Perino, and I am one of the producers for Hofstra Today.
Layla, we had our first question for you. What's it like being a head writer on a Heat show?
Oh my goodness, it's so much fun. I love being able to work with so many writers every week and love putting on the show, and I love being with you two all the time too.
Fun to be with you too, Layla. Yeah.
And Corey, can you tell us what the role of a producer is? What day-to-day producer life is like?
Yeah, so really the best way to explain what a producer for Heat does is that we make the shows happen, essentially. We're in charge of determining what content's going to be on the shows. We figure out all the timing, like if our show's 30 minutes, we make sure it's actually 30 minutes and not shorter or longer. We're in charge of coordinating with the talent's going to be on the show. We work with our production managers to get crew on the show, and we're in charge of determining like all roll-ins and packages that are going to be on the show. So really, we do a lot, and it's a lot of work, but it's so much fun. It's probably my favorite thing I do here at Hofstra is producing Sports Beat.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. Marianne, can you talk about, so you were the package producer, and then now you've become the full-on producer. Can you talk about that journey for you?
Yeah, so kind of how Corey described, we do so much for the show. And I started kind of at the very beginning of the show being a writer, actually. And then I worked myself up to the package producer, and then I was a producer. So yeah, definitely having all of those positions really helps me out in being an actual producer.
And Spencer, you also had a role switch. You were host to begin with. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so it was definitely a change to go from being on-screen talent, being a host, where I had, relatively few responsibilities, and then to be producing a show. But it's been fantastic. Being a film studies and production major, it's definitely been a learning curve, changing over to TV. But working with everybody here, who is a TV major or who's involved with Heat has really been an amazing collaboration experience, honestly.
Man, that's super cool. And then Megan, so you kind of work on all the shows in a way. Can you talk about what you do as Associate General Manager?
Sure. So right now I'm taking over the responsibility of being in charge of the Heat Mentorship Program, where we match underclassmen with upperclassmen. And I'm also in charge of, the producers, and if there's any problems, they come to me and we talk and we figure them out.
It's a lot of people to be in charge of.
Definitely.
And Aaron, obviously you have a lot of roles for Thursday Night Live. Can you tell us, is there any specific role that you really love or find the most fun?
I mean, I really like kind of being able to do it all. I kind of get to see like all aspects of the show with writing, and then kind of like seeing my sketches come to life, and sometimes being able to be in them, it's really fun. And now I'm really excited that I get to kind of step up and take a lead as associate producer, because I've been on the show since I was a freshman, and now to kind of take my journey to the top spot. So I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Very exciting, yeah. Since we're on the Thursday Night Live train, can we go to Leah? Can you talk about what does a production manager do?
Yeah, so as production manager, I do the coordination of our live crew for each episode. So about 2 weeks before an episode happens, I send out a crew call where people can fill out a form that says what crew positions they're interested in, and then I sort of go through and match everyone up with certain positions and make sure that everybody has a place on the show, that I try to get people like the positions that they want and things like that. And it's a big game of Tetris almost, trying to get everybody into all of these crew positions. And then as we get closer to the show, I do stuff with getting equipment, sending equipment forms, doing set build and set breakdown. And then during the show, just a lot of coordination of all of our like moving pieces. So sort of working with our set coordinators and our props masters to make sure that all of our live aspects of the show like function, desks go in, go out, curtains come down and up, things like that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Layla, so you are a music business major, so not in the comm school. So how did you get interested in 2 Weeks Notice? How did you become the head writer of 2 Weeks Notice? Not even.
Yeah. Well, it was my sophomore year, pre-COVID, of course. Everything's pre-COVID, and I knew the general manager for the Heat Network at the time, and she just put something out there, and she was like, you should come to the show 2 Weeks Notice and just be a part of the audience. So I was like, okay, cool. So I went there, I fell in love with it, I really enjoyed it, and I found out they had an open writer's room, so I attended one session, I wrote something, it was awful. I think you were there, and it was horrible, but I kept trying, and I just got better, and here I am as the head writer.
We wrote Holly on Jolly together. I remember that was your first feature on the show.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you so much for answering all these great questions and giving our viewers some inside scoop. We'll be right back with some Heat trivia.
I'm Gabe James.
And I'm Max Sacco.
Join us on Wednesdays at 1:30 for all your weather, sports, national, and entertainment news.
Each episode is a broadcast live from the Lawrence Herbert School of Communication right here at Hofstra University.
Tune in to our 30-minute broadcast for the latest update and exciting performances.
All that and more happening at and around Hofstra today.
Welcome to Heat Trivia. Our panel is divided up into 2 teams, and whichever team wins will get a piece of Heat merchandise. Let's get started. When was the first Heat show created? Aaron.
2001.
2001.
That is correct.
Woo! Yeah. All right, our next question. What does HEAT stand for? Oh, okay, I saw Aaron shooting up again.
Heat Entertainment Hofstra Entertainment Access Service. Television.
You gotta
Television.
steal
I
from
said
Marianne.
television.
It is Hofstra Entertainment Access Television.
That is correct, Marianne. Congrats.
Question 3. What's the most recently created Heat show? Megan.
2 Weeks Notice.
Ooh,
That is
yeah, it
correct.
is. Next question. How many total producers have been there since the start of the Heat Network? This is a big numbers question. This is a thinker. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Marianne?
53.
That is not the correct answer. Yes.
It's 52.
That is also not the correct answer.
54. 123.
Marianne? Or Megan, sorry. Yeah.
123.
That is correct. 123.
Oh my goodness. All right. What was the co-host position on 2 Weeks Notice originally called? Leah.
We're going to guess sidekick.
That is correct. Yeah! I didn't even know that. Fun facts.
Next up, we've got a Hofstra Today question. What time does Hofstra Today typically air? Spencer?
1:30.
That is correct. It's on the Common Hour. Yes, sir.
I would hope
That
so.
could have been your job, Marianne. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. All right. What season is Director's Cut currently on? Spencer?
It's 22.
It's 22.
Okay.
Do you know why? Can you explain it?
Yes.
So it's 22 because each semester has been considered as its own season. So it's fall,
That makes
spring,
sense.
fall, spring.
Okay, I
Kind of
see.
interesting.
I see.
Boom.
Fun fact.
Man,
On
we
top
got
of the
some
fun
fun facts in here.
Oh my goodness.
Man, this is awesome. All right. Next question. What year did TNL win a college Emmy? Aaron, you shot up there first. Yeah.
2020, Jimmy Fallon.
Correct. Yes. You got it.
Who
There
is
you go.
Who is the current host of Director's Cut? Spencer.
So it's Ryan Davies and Katie Heron.
Yes.
Tierney.
Tierney. I knew what you meant. But.
And Madeline Greenberg.
But Ryan is the main host, correct?
Yeah. Ryan is the main host.
Big fan. Big fan of Ryan Davies.
All right, our next question that we got up there is what show was TNL originally based on?
Spencer.
What was it? Conan O'Brien.
It is Conan O'Brien. Yes, congratulations. It was Conan O'Brien and then TRL, another show. Yeah.
Yes. That's a good question. Because
Go to
TNL
the
used to be
quest
different
live.
than what it is now. All right, next we
Different
have
time.
how many logos has TNL had? Aaron.
20.
Correct.
Our next question is how does Hofstra Today now open their shows? Spencer.
It is with a pre-recorded jib shot.
That is correct. Boom. Yeah.
Good answer. During which season did 2 Weeks Notice have its 61-minute special? Layla.
Season 6.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. This one is about the Heat Mentorship Program. When was the Heat Mentorship Program created? Spencer, shut up.
Spring of 2020.
Close but not quite. Megan.
It's the fall of 2021. Spring of 2021. Sorry. Spring of
2021.
2021.
Yes, that is correct.
Does Sports Beat have a host? Spencer.
Yes, but it switches every show, so
Mhm.
technically not one host.
Do we have that? Is that the correct answer? Yay!
Yay!
Amazing. So we were not keeping track, but we'll say the winners are the front row.
Good job, team!
Congrats to this team, and thank you for joining us. We're so happy you were able to join us for this amazing special.
It's so incredible to see where the Heat Network has gone in the past 20 years.
We want to give a huge thank you to our panel of Heat members for their time and energy, not only today, but on their shows throughout the year.
And we want to thank all of our Heat alumni for sharing their experiences with us.
Also, a special thank you to the Herbert School faculty and staff, specifically to Dr. Peter Gershon, for all of your hard work to keep the student-run network alive for 2 decades.
And finally, thank you to the viewers at home for your loyal support of the Heat Network.
Have a great night.
Happy birthday, Heat! Hey, congratulations. Here's the merch. Yes, of course. Oh man, we got a code.
Oh my goodness. It's almost, it's, I already had one. Aaron, I was winning.
Oh, for me? Thanks. Oh, yeah.
Oh, pass that over here.
It was close. It was right down to the wire. It was close. It was close. Oh, more cake. Thanks, Aaron. Thank you.
Marianne's the
Yay.
DJ.